I want to talk about life in our 30s. Like, I'm just
Oh,
like,
right.
because like, so last week I made like a mass text to a bunch of people, just being like, people that I trust and love, just being like, hey, what should we talk about on the podcast? And like, Courtney came up with a really good idea and just kind of like, reflecting on our 30s. Like, I'm full transparency,
I mean,
I'm
we
32,
just got
Samantha's
here.
31, we've just got here, we're in our early 30s, but just kind of reflecting on what it is, how does it feel, but also just like what did we expect our 30s to look like, because I feel like when I was younger, even in my 20s or before that, I had a totally different picture of what my 30s are going to look like. And then also, what do we want the future to look at? But I guess I'll start with Samantha. What did you expect your 30s to look like when you were in your 20s, and then like before that?
Oh my goodness. I thought I was gonna be I was gonna say Beyonce. I thought I was gonna just like have it, have the money, have the career, have the whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
not that I don't, but it's like it's definitely, I feel much younger than I thought I would feel. I feel like still a teenager at heart. Like I feel like I'm still just, I guess, like, not having kids and stuff like that. It's just like I just still feel like a kid at heart.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what? I'm 32. Like, oh right, like people expect me to be a grown up adult woman. Um and it's definitely, I mean, like Alexis said, I'm 31. I have a birthday coming up in about a week, which is so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do feel comfort, like you said, like just being at the early part of our 30s, because
Mm-hmm.
we're just getting started. It's like, but I definitely, I mean, for one, I probably still had like the rose colored glasses of like not living through like historical events.
Mm.
Like I didn't know, I thought that the economy would be better. I thought that, going to college would like secure you a job, like, so that you wouldn't have to go through certain like ups and downs and whatever, which was obviously like, kind of a fantasy. But yeah, I feel like I'm a little like I overestimated how much, like, just how young 30 is, like it's literally 3 decades. Like it's like 10, 20, 30. Like we are still like very young and still learning a lot. And so I feel really good though, because I feel like I'm like remembering. I feel like in my 20s and my like teens, I was very much like inspired, like, just doing ideas. Like
Mm.
me and my friends would just be like doing photo shoots or,
Mm-hmm.
doing projects and just like knowing that we're going to be successful and
Mm-hmm.
like just very ambitious. And I feel like even through like my 20s, like I was
Mm-hmm.
literally thinking about this in the car. It's like, I went to Aruba for 3 months. Like I've had different
Right.
Jobs and careers, and
Mm-hmm.
not careers, but what I mean? Like I've had different jobs in different industries, and I've done a lot, like I've done some big girl stuff. And I've
Mm-hmm.
also like, I've had phases where I was like doing all the things, where I was like going to the gym and eating clean and like,
Mm-hmm. I remember
like,
that. Yeah.
yeah, it's like I have a lot of knowledge, and I feel like just, like with herbs and how to take care of your
Mm-hmm.
body. And I feel like I'm getting back to that and just remembering that, that I'm young and that I have like my life ahead of me. Like I'm not letting any
Absolutely.
of these, like, I feel like I definitely, just being like a Scorpio and stuff, like I feel things so intensely. And these past few years, like 2020 to now, have been like pretty hard. And so I feel like I've gotten a little jaded, but I do feel like I'm waking, like, I'm, especially honestly with this whole, like, of course, just like my program and stuff too, and just all the growth I've been doing with that. But like with this election, and like, I feel like I'm just like, okay, like I'm going to be dry brushing. Like, okay, let me get out my like you know, my self-care tools that I haven't used in forever. But like now I'm taking that extra step of care for myself, you know?
Yeah, I
And I'm just
agree.
falling in love with things again. I love reading. I'm like really like
Hmm.
remembering just like, oh my God, Samantha, like you can, this is your time to live. Like you can
Hell
try to read
yeah.
as many books as you can in this lifetime, you know, and enjoy that.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's how I kind of feel. I feel excited, but
I
it's
agree with
weird. I
that.
still feel like a kid. I still feel like a kid
I
at
agree.
Christmas.
It's interesting. Like, I kind of feel the same. Like, I feel like when I was in my early 20s, reflecting on my 30s, like, I was like, I will, like, kind of like what you said, like, I will have it all. Like, I will have the marriage, I will have the bit, like, I'll be pregnant, I'll have, like, these long
Mhm.
locks, I'll live in a city, I'll, like, have a, dope ass job, I'll have the
Mhm.
PhD. And,
Mhm.
and I feel like before that, when I was like in like my teens, I always just envisioned myself as like a 30-year-old something person, single in a city with a glass of wine in a penthouse, like literally just
Mhm.
being like, with a dog, just being like,
Sex in
we're
the City
right, Sex in the
vibes.
City life, but
Got
more
money.
right, literally. And I feel like, now that I'm here, it's interesting because some things I achieve, some things that like, are just, it just doesn't look the same. But I feel like I agree with you. Like, I do feel, I mean, we are young. I still feel very young in the sense that like, it's funny because even when I hear some people are getting married or like, or having babies,
We
I'm like,
can't
what? I'm a
imagine
child.
that
Right. Exactly.
responsibility.
I'm like, I'm a child bride. What are you talking about? Or just
Right.
like, I'm a teen mom. Why are you having a baby? And it's just like, I get it that I feel like it's
We're in
interesting
our
because I feel like
30s.
when we were
Yeah.
in our 20s, pretty much everyone was kind of living the same ish type of life. And like
Mhm.
if you were married or having a baby in your 20s, it was everyone was kind of collectively like, oh, she's having a baby. But I feel like in my 30s, I feel like this is the first time I'm having the realization that we're now on different like paths, where
Mhm.
it's like there are some people who are like married, there are some people who are like buying a home, there's some people who are having a baby, like there's people who are like in a city eating, like we're thinking about what I'm gonna have for dinner tonight,
Yeah,
and then there's
literally.
people who are like, oh, I'm gonna go out with my friends tonight. Like, it's like in my biggest worry is my dog. It's like we're
Mhm.
just now on different planes. Not one is not better than
Mhm.
the other, but I feel like I've been like I've felt that and understood that a lot more now.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm
How do you feel
happy.
about not being what you thought it was like, you know?
Mm,
I mean, we're
well,
still
only in
again, we're
some,
only
only in,
two.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like I'll say two things, like only in some aspects, but then
Right.
also
You
like
got your
we're
PhD.
still like we're still going, so it's like, I mean, I
Mhm.
guess for me it's like I've achieved the PhD, I've achieved living in this,
Yeah, we
I'm
can
living in the
still
city.
achieve our 30s like that,
Exactly.
you know?
I'm living in a
That's the
city.
goal.
I have now it's my second set of locks. I have a dog. There's certain things that are like still like this, I've achieved, but I feel like for me, it's funny because I feel like if I had been married right when I was 30, I would have
Mm-mm.
felt like a child bride. And I know that I'm not a
I
child
would have
bride,
I would
but
have
I would
felt
have felt that
trapped.
internally. Yeah, I would have felt trapped. Like internally, that's how it would have hit to me. Because I feel like I agree with
It
you. For
would
some
it would
reason, I
have to
feel
be a really, you know, special person,
exact.
but
And it's like I'm with a
yeah.
special person, but it's just like it just wouldn't have felt right. Like it's like where I
Yeah.
was
I
spirit
feel you.
wise,
Mhm.
it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
And
no,
so it's
you're
just
right.
like, and I agree with you, like I still feel like a kid at heart in many ways. And so it's just like that seems like a very serious adult thing that I'm like, am I ready for that type of commitment?
Oh my
And so
god, very adult. Like,
it's a very adult thing, and like it also it's a very, it's not trapping, but it is a commitment that like to get out of it, you got to do a lot to get out of it, and just also like you are. It's just very serious. And so I guess I feel like when I turned 30, it's funny because I was like, it's just like I was laughing, like, oh, I don't think I would have wanted that at 30.
it's funny though because I feel like when I'm around children, it's like when I remember my age and like because you were a teacher, did
Mhm.
you feel like more of an adult like because you were a like cuz you had years of
Oh, that's a
teaching?
good question. It's funny because I feel like I remember my first day as a teacher. I was 22, I think. 22 because I had, yeah, 22, just turned 22. And I remember distinctly the like a parent was like, I was like, oh, I Miss Bigelow, like I'll be, you know, so and so's teacher, and their mom was like, how old are you? Like it was like an immediate, like she like immediately was like, how old are
That
you?
is so
And she's
funny.
like, you're the teacher, and I remember being like, that's how I feel. Like I feel like a 22
Right.
year old who's trying to like learn all this. So yes, I guess
Yeah.
I did feel like an adult in the sense that like yes, I am the adult in the room, right? Because like they're all 8, but I feel like I definitely understood that I like had a lot of growing and a life experiences I need to have before I can be like felt like an adult. So no, I didn't feel like an
Mm-hmm.
adult in the sense that we're talking about it. I just felt like an adult
Mm-hmm.
in the sense of like I'm in a room with 8-year-olds.
Right. Right.
But what about you?
Interesting.
Like I mean, you lived in Atlanta. Like you know, I feel like you lived in Atlanta. You were like living alone, and I know you at a certain point you lived with your
Mm-mm.
sister.
I've always felt young. I've always felt like I'm still like, it's like a continuous of like just, I mean, obviously I've had so many phases though. So like in my 20s, that's like a very um different, like, obviously I've like grown and changed a lot, but I feel like I'm still about like, wanting to look as good as I can and you know what I mean? Like have fun and like go on
Do you not think you
vacation.
can do that as an adult? Like have fun, look as good as you can, go on vacation.
It's
Like
so funny
why is
that
that not
I mean, it
compatible
is
with that?
adult stuff. It is adult
Or
stuff.
compatible with marriage or however you're thinking about it.
And it's so funny, like, I was actually thinking about this today when I was taking a shower. I was like, because I was having a little dance party in the shower and I was like, twerking is down. Okay. There's a new Meg the Stallion album on the street. And I'm just like, am I going to be like 55, like still able to, or still like have it in me to want to like twerk it down? Like, I think
Yes.
so, you
If you
know?
don't lose that spirit, like I think so.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I think
and
so.
I feel like, and this was the next thought I had because of course, but I was just like, I am grateful for Beyonce for like, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like her and like Kelly and all them like have given us like great
Yes.
examples. They were just like kind of
Absolutely.
opening the doors for us to just be as free and as fun and still twerking
And they just
and
make marriage and like for in your like late in your like not that they're old but like your 40s look
I
cool,
mean,
right? Like they're dressing in
okay,
ways that
yeah.
I mean literally even the other day I was watching the Golden Bachelorette because I love the Golden Bachelorette, and
Mm-hmm.
it was the men tell all, and the current Golden Bachelorette, I think she's like 60 something, and she comes out in this like strapless tight ass black dress that has like a cut right here, like look like on your boobs and kind of goes like over, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I know that like a 30-year-old 20-year-old would wear this dress, and I'm like, I've never, and I like it struck me like being like, damn, like she's just showing such a good example of like you can still dress sexy, cool, and all these other things at this age, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not like there's this,
It's a spirit, like you
it's a
said.
spirit. I think it's a
And
spirit.
I have to really, sometimes I have to work on cultivating it because I can age myself sometimes. Just like, just, I don't know, just like in my mind, I feel like it's like, oh, blah, blah. It's like, no, girl, you are young, you are
I
flirty
mean,
and
even with the
30,
septum,
flirty and
yeah,
thriving.
sure, 30,
Okay.
flirty, flirty. And it's like, even with the septum, like, I remember being like, internally, I was like, am I like too old to begin this? Like, you know, I'm like, and I was
Mm-mm.
like, hell no. Like, I think it's a spirit. And I think as long as, like, you know who you are, like, and it's not, again, it's not hating on other people, but it's like, some people just don't have the spirit. And it's just like you do, and so it's just like you're gonna do everything you can to like keep it sexy, keep it cute, keep it fun, keep it light, keep it playful, even when you're 60, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And interesting, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we haven't, not we, but I just feel like society doesn't really like showcase that for your like older people. I feel like they very much put it in the box of like, well, you're raising your kids now, you know, that is your fun, you know,
All right.
rather than like, no, I still go on girls trips, I still go
Mm-hmm.
out, like if I want to go to a bar or something with my friend, like I still
Right.
dress cute, I still,
I'm
you know,
still
live a
having
life.
fun. It's like,
Exactly.
when I go out with my girlfriends, it's like,
Exactly.
still feeling young. Yeah. I think it definitely, like you said, it is a spirit. And I was going to say, I thought of this while you were talking, like, I feel like at this point now that I've gotten to this age, I don't know if I have a like you know how I had like the vision for my 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think I have that for like the rest of my life,
Same,
you
same,
know?
yeah.
And even more so, like every day it's just becoming like more and more just like I don't know what's like, you know, like I don't know what this life is gonna look like I'm just very open, I guess, like to, you know, what my higher power has for me. Like it's just like, okay, like if I'm supposed to have a life partner, like okay, if I'm supposed to just like experience people and like but be kind of like, you know, single for the most part, like or just like have relationships but not have like
Yeah.
somebody that you're like with for 20 years and you're getting old or whatever.
But I
Or
also want to
like
say, like, we're still very young. Like, you still have
I
plenty of
know.
time
I
to
know.
find
That's
this
what
person.
I
Okay.
know, Alexis.
Okay.
I'm saying if that's supposed to happen, but like I'm not like counting like you know how
Right.
it
That's
was
not
just
the idolized goal. You're not putting it on
yeah,
a
like
pedestal.
how it was like okay, like
Yeah.
it really was probably a little bit like prom-y. Like it was just like okay, when I get in my third, like you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
have my wedding, and it's like
Yeah.
whatever. It was just like a milestone type thing. Now it's like
Absolutely.
okay, no, it's like reality. These are the people we're working with. These are like the time of our
Yeah.
lives, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and
I mean,
yeah,
timing's everything. I also think that, like, but I agree. Like, I feel like that's a good outlook to have because I feel like, at least I feel like I have heard you express kind of like in your, you've had this expression in your 30s of like, this is not my goal. You know, like, I feel like you've
mm-hmm,
had other times where you've been like, you know, prior to this
mm-hmm.
in your 20s or in teens where like that was the goal and idolized. But I feel like you've had a new understanding that like there's more to life than like
Oh my god,
that, you know?
absolutely. And it was always like and it's interesting cuz it's like it wasn't it's very like weird cuz you wouldn't think that that was like me. You know, like I wasn't very much like I don't know. I just maybe I mean, you could tell me you've seen me grow up. But like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I wasn't I still had like I feel like my creativity and my ambition was like a really big
Mm-hmm.
part of what my hopes were for,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like it was like I honestly don't even know. I don't think I thought about like boyfriend phase or like you know like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and like yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
No,
Like
I
I
like
kind of think I might have just be seeing the wedding. Like, you know, it's just like versus like seeing like, you know, like obviously I do have flashes of that, but when I'm looking back and I'm like thinking about my 18-year-old self, like she wasn't like, my husband's out there, I'm gonna find him. Like,
I mean, it was just a given. Like, you just were like, "Oh, I'll be 30 and partner."
right,
Like, it was
right,
just a
right.
given. It wasn't like you were thinking about the journey. It was just that it was gonna happen. But I feel like, I don't know. Like, I think there are a lot of. I mean, I always say this to you, and I feel like you always say this to me. But I mean, I literally remember driving back from one of my friends' weddings, and one of my friends was like, we're going to be going to a lot of people's weddings, and we'll be in some of these people we'll be seeing their divorces. And so it's just
Mm-hmm.
like there are a lot of people that like rush into things, or not even rush, but yeah, maybe even just like, or even just like they thought it was the right person, or even just like
Yeah, just
they,
life.
you know, like they thought that like this is what you do, we're getting close to 30, this is what you do, this
Or
is the
they
next
thought it
natural
was
step,
good.
or
Or
they thought
they
it was good.
really, yeah, or they really, really thought it was whatever. Like people do, I can totally see how, you know, just you outgrow people or like things that weren't like that important, like become really important. So I feel like, yeah.
I
And
just
I
think
think
with
that that's
time, I guess
like,
is what I'm trying
I
to
also,
say.
I'm like breaking that part apart too. Like you, like we've been talking about with the divorce stuff. It's just like, yeah, like I don't know. I guess I see a lot of single women that are older, like it's just not a like you said, it's not a given. It's not a given. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that just to say that, like, just to bring it back
And
to the
it's
30's,
okay.
yeah, it is. And just to bring it back to the 30's, like, yes, like with, I think it will only be a blessing to you because you'll have discernment, you'll have like,
Mhm.
you know, just more I don't know,
Yes. Oh my
criticality
God.
with it.
I watched Dr. I think it's Sheehan. Is that
Cheyenne Bryant, our
Cheyenne Bryant?
girl. Did I send? Is it
Yes.
the thing that I sent you?
Yeah, you sent me a clip, but
Yeah.
I was watching the whole thing because we were watching the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
So oh my God. Her. Like, okay.
That's her whole thing. Like they're like you don't want to just be like rush into the aisle
Oh
just to
my
get a divorce. That's
goodness.
what she always says.
And it's just like, I just love, just she's single, she's beautiful, she knows
Mm-hmm.
her purpose, she knows, like, and it's just like, yeah, that might be, and I feel like I love that. I love that she's in her purpose and doing like her work and sharing her voice and stuff, and then just still being beautiful and having her personal life. And, just, I just think that that was so cool. And I just love how she was talking about I just love how she talks about herself and about like being a confident woman.
So what
Okay.
do you want for your next 30s as we like almost hit an hour? Like talk to me about like what do you want for your
Mm,
the future? Like we've talked about what we thought 30s were going to be like.
it's
What do
much
you want for your
more
future?
it's much more, I feel like, a grounded vision for myself, like in terms of like how I feel. Like, I want to feel confident and just like in myself, and like not trying to look good to any particular person, like really feel confident in myself. Like, I feel like that was another thing, honestly, that has freed me. Like, and I know, like you don't think about men. So it's like, you've never had to like decenter men, I feel
But I
like.
feel like even though I haven't had to do that, it's real that you want to like look good for people, just anyone you like, and like
I
having to
know.
decenter that or not
Yes,
decenter that. But
absolutely. But just on the level of, I just feel like I agree. Just like wanting to like look appear to be sexy to blah blah blah. I just feel like the men thing is
you're
just
right.
so, it's just because they aren't women, or like they're just, I don't know. It's like it's just all the patriarchy and all the whatever, like wanting to be desirable or what the fuck ever.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like that has also freed me too. It's just like, we really are at the top of the, like, listening to Meg the Stallion and Glorilla and stuff like that should really be putting a battery in my back.
So what do
Okay.
you want for your future? You said decentering,
Well,
like the
just
male gaze,
having
basically.
confidence. No, that's not what I'm
What are you
saying.
trying to say?
I was just going back to like this time and how it's freeing me to, like, just going back to like the Black woman and how we're like feeling more free. I feel like that's been another thing of just like
Mm-hmm.
not caring how I look that much, because it's just like, I know that I'm beautiful. Like, I know that I'm a bad bitch. That's why I can come on here and, you know, and it's just like, who am I trying to impress? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking to my sisters. Like, I really could give a fuck about what anybody else thinks. Okay. Because obviously we are acing the test. Anyways, but all that to say, I just want to feel confident in myself. That's always the goal, just being more authentically me. And I feel like that's gonna be a super fun journey for me, because I'm leaning into just different things. I mean, even just doing this podcast, like talking and putting myself out there and
Mm-hmm.
like, sharing myself or with the world, or just letting people see
Yeah.
me, and being confident enough to do that, because I know that I'm in my purpose. Like, that's another thing I want to do too. I really want to have an expertise at stuff, like at the things that I'm really passionate about, and like grow that expertise
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
through, like, my trainings and things like that, so that I really feel confident in what I bring to the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And just more money, baby. I want more money. I can't wait. I feel the vibrations of manifesting abundance and like traveling keeping it light, bro. Like having experiences. I want to keep it light. That is what I want for my 30s. Like if it gets, like if it happens, whatever, but like right, like I'm taking the flight to Cali to go to this cool concert and visit my friends and just traveling and just doing cool stuff and creating, really.
That makes sense.
And hopefully I hope it blows our mind, honestly. Like I think this podcast is gonna grow.
It's gonna hit, it's gonna pop, and when it pops, it pops. I agree.
What about you, friend? And we'll close.
I agree. I feel like for me, like it's just not losing my spirit for the future. Like I've always been like very like I'm a lover, but I'm a fighter in the sense of like justice, and I've always had like ever since you know me, like I was always being like, but girl, that's not right, and I don't want to lose my spirit with that. I don't want to lose my spirit with my playfulness and like and just like my silliness. I don't want to lose my spirit when it comes to curiosity. I don't want to lose my spirit when it comes to dressing and looking cute. Like I always want to just be in cute clothes. I don't want to lose my spirit when it comes to my loyalty and with my friends and family. I want to make sure that I always have like friendships that I have separate from any relationship that's romantic. Like, I want to make sure I have friends that I can visit. And community, right.
I want that in my 30s.
Because community
I got to get out of my bubble.
Right. And I have a beautiful family, obviously, and a beautiful relationship, but it's like, that's not everything. You need fucking friends. And so I want to make sure I continue that. And
I want to get rid of that. Sorry, I just wanted to say I want to get rid of that limiting belief that like I'm a loner. Yeah. And I am, okay? I have Scorpio in the 12th house. Like, bitch, I need my alone time. But I need community, and I have to stop being scared to like talk to people.
Yes.
Anyways, go ahead.
And then I just think I don't want to lose my spirit when it comes to like just the lifestyle I want. Like I've never wanted to be in a suburb after I was 18. I've never wanted to be. I've always wanted to be in a city. I've always wanted to raise a family in a city. I've always wanted to just be a city person. And I think with that comes a different like, you're kind of up with the fucking pop culture. You're up with the like, trends. You're able to walk to a restaurant and eat. You're able to walk to a bar
forever.
And I just feel like I don't want to lose that spirit. Obviously, if things change, but like, whatever, I'll be open to it. But it's like right now, I don't want to be like forced to be like, well, you need to be in a suburb if you don't have a family, or if you need to be in a suburb if you're 40. It's like, no, like I actually am like loving that I can like do. I mean, just today, like me and Julie like walked to like this Mexican restaurant in our neighborhood and had dinner and drank margaritas, had a good time, and then walked back home. It's like I don't want to
that's what you want.
And so
and all the things you care about, like
right.
I feel like I feel like as we were growing up, I don't know if I knew that about you, that you wanted to live in a city. Like I don't feel like
when I would envision myself at Holy Trinity, it was in a city in an apartment with pretty windows, drinking wine. Like
you like single. Had that in your. You did not tell nobody about that because I did not know that.
Well, I feel like I always used to say like I want to live in like New York or Chicago. I feel like Chicago was like the thing for a while. It was
and
like
even
like
Chicago. Even more recently, yes. Like I feel like now, but like it's definitely. I feel like I'm just learning so much about you, like what you're into.
That's the beautiful thing about friendship. You're just constantly discovering things about someone. And the last thing I'll say is this: I don't want to lose my friendships because I will never forget my dear friend Yardley. I was over her house with her mother because Yardley had went to work after I spent the night, and we were this is when I was, in my 20s. I think I was visiting Yardley, and I was living in Milwaukee, and I went home to Maryland, and then I visited Yardley in Pennsylvania. And Yardley's mom was like, it was just me and Yardley in the kitchen. I mean, me and Yardley's mom in the kitchen. And Yardley's mom was like, I just want you to never not be friends with Yardley because like, I want you to know, like, I am like, basically friendless. Basically what she said. She was like, I like, centered my family and my marriage and my kids for so long that I kind of lost contact with so many people. And so the only person I can really kick it with is like my family members or my husband, and you need more than that. And she was kind of just like, don't ever like go so far as to lose touch with your friends, and also make sure that you have friends separate of your marriage or your relationship.
Right.
And I'll never forget you when she told me that, and I was like, oh, I will thank you so much for this. And I remember I told Yardley, and Yardley was like, oh, my mom is so funny. But it's just like, that's real.
So
and I
real.
feel like I don't want to be 50 or 60 where the only
Right.
person I can like turn to would be, and I, like I said, I have a beautiful family, but you also need friends. So I don't want
my
to
chosen family
lose that thing.
Sorry.
But this has
chosen
been
family.
yes, and their family. And I feel like I've had this conversation with another friend where it's like, when we introduce each other, like she's like, no, like she was like, when I meet somebody and like I introduce him to you, I'm gonna be like, this is like my sister.
No,
you know, like
for
this
real.
isn't like, you know, like this isn't
That's
this is
another
like a
thing that I
thing
feel
to
like
me.
30s is like even more so. It just cements. It's like I just feel like I've just realized, sorry, I'm like dealing with a crazy dog over here. Yeah, cementing. Like we've been through a lot of shit, you know, it's like you my family.
Exactly.
And just, you know, having that being able to look back and being like, you know, wow, you've known me. You've known me. So, yeah.
Yes, well, that's a wrap, friends.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on this reflective journey with us.
Yes. Thanks for joining the call.
We have some fun things planned before the new year that we can't wait to share with y'all.
I know, coming up.
Coming up, so keep your ears open.
Keep your ears to the streets.
To the streets. The streets are talking. It's like, no, they're not talking about us, but hopefully one day they will.
Yes. Email us your discussion topics at whoamitojudgepod@gmail.com or anything, any ideas, any thoughts, questions, comments. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast, and give us a review also.
And comment.
Yes, we're loving the comments. Like YouTube, our YouTube has been popping.
And this is
the
how
comments
you know you're
are popping.
good. When you get positive and negative, it's
right.
like, oh, we're really
exactly.
ahead.
That's what Meg Thee Stallion said. She was like, you know, the hate, that's when I knew that I made it. So let's go.
It's up and it's stuck. All right.
It's up and it's stuck. All right. Bye.